Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hi, my name is Leia. I am 24 years old and I'm a freelance screenwriter and grad student, and I'm about to start my last semester, which means I'm going to write my master thesis. Before that happens, I still have to write one more term paper for another seminar of mine, and I've been struggling a bit with both my term paper topic and my master thesis topic. I'll get more into detail on that in a separate vlog, but in this video I want to do a little writing exercise with y'all, and I invite you to basically do the same if you're trying to figure out a story that you're working on, you're also working on a term paper, or if you're actually working on a song. So one of my professors actually recommended, if you're struggling with your term paper topic, grab a notebook and a pencil and set a timer for 10 minutes and write down everything that comes to your mind about it. And then after those 10 minutes are over, set another 10-minute timer and then circle and highlight everything that's important. And with that, you're trying to basically create the red thread that you're looking for. I'm going to do that with both my term paper and my master thesis. I'm just going to share the process and how it worked for me. And I basically invite you to do the same in case you're also working on term paper, but you can do the same exact exercise if you're currently working on a story idea or even song lyrics or something along those lines. I actually did this exercise in my songwriting course as well, and it's really fun because you can just sort of like let loose and write down everything that you do know about a certain topic and then connect the dots afterwards. Stopwatch timers. I'm kind of nervous. And I think I'm gonna go into my MA thesis first. The issue that I had with my MA thesis is that according to the proposal that I had come up with in the beginning of January, there were two directions that my topic was moving into. One of them was revolving a lot about femininity, and the other one was about characterizations, so how the characters have been written and developed. Actually, I think both topics still kind of intertwine a little bit, so I'm just trying to find the red thread through everything. For my term paper, I want to look into The Nightmare Before Christmas and to see if I can find a fun topic to write about. Sometimes I watch a movie and I immediately have an idea, oh, this is something that I could write a term paper about, but with The Nightmare Before Christmas, that hasn't really happened yet. So sometimes doing these kind of exercises can be really helpful to just get to the point of your thought process, if that makes any sense. Gonna put on my glasses and gonna put you guys over here. Timer starts now. Okay, so this is what my first page looks like, and I kind of did a little mind map in here, and then I did like kind of like a listing of things that I came up with for the 4 characters that I had in mind about analyzing, and then just some general information on top here. I did have to look at my computer at times to sort of like be reminded of certain notes that I've taken before, but I did not copy them or anything. So now I'm not sure if I need 10 minutes to circle everything because there isn't really much to circle here anyways. I'm just gonna grab my highlighter and highlight a few things because I feel like there's still kind of like this connection between the two directions that I spoke about in the beginning, where I just don't know how to mix them both to really have that red thread in a sense. I have to include the fact that for some reason I spent 10 minutes writing all of this, and this isn't a lot. So what I got going on here, maybe I should just turn around my camera for this. I think I'm kind of going somewhere. Maybe I have to do this again and maybe write more. I have no idea, but I think this was already really, really good. So I highlighted the shackles of patriarchy, character binaries, how are women written in contemporary TV, and how is that different from male characters, and how are heroes constructed, and what does that have to do with gender? Where are character binaries broken? And at the same time, in my mind map, I kind of circled heroism versus tyranny and good and evil, men versus women. And then I also wrote down emotion, because how is emotion portrayed? And how does emotion, I need to write this down. How is emotion responsible for character development? How? Because I also wrote down here love versus hate. How is emotion responsible for character development? How's that characterized in good versus evil? And how does that impact the gender norms? What did I write down in my notes the last time? How is character development and how is it different with men and women? Stories of good and evil, rage rooted in gender inequality. I think it makes sense to look into, well, obviously, men versus women, how male and female characters are depicted and written and developed in contemporary TV, and how is it like in Game of Thrones? How does emotion play a part into that? How are there stereotypes? Are they being broken or subverted? And then how is, according to that, heroism and tyranny depicted? How are heroes constructed and how are tyrants constructed, and how do we find that? I think this makes sense. I hope. Does it make sense? Can you tell me in the comments if this makes sense? I welcome any kind of feedback. So I think for my MA thesis, this is definitely not the end of it, but I think I can very much build on what I found out today, because it definitely helped me to sort of like narrow down the core of what I want to argue. So in my MA thesis, that will be depictions of good and evil, heroism and tyranny, and how men and women are constructed, and how emotion could maybe tie into all of this, which I did not even see before. Well, I only looked at female rage, but I actually kind of want to include emotion altogether more. Maybe there's a way of how I can do that. I'll definitely have more office hours with my supervisor about this as well, so I'm gonna do more research and maybe do all of this again, and then I think I can really pinpoint where my thesis is going. In terms of the term paper, this was actually way better because the term paper is going to be 15 pages long, and after all, I just have one film to look at and not 8 seasons of a TV show with episodes that are 40 to 1 hour long. So yeah, this was a bit easier, and I think I can definitely find ways where I can put this into a really nice and coherent story. And what also definitely helps is that when you try to figure out term paper, like, of course, look at your notes. Don't be like, oh, I'm not gonna look at my notes. Like, of course, you're still doing research. Like, you have to look at notes from the class or feedback that you've received in the past, so that's perfectly fine. I think to just sort of like get into the headspace of writing, it helps to not look at notes and then later compare them, because then you're like, oh, I just found out this, and then I can connect it to something from the seminar or from my notes that I've taken before. But overall, it was definitely a good exercise. If you're, of course, trying to come up with a story, then you might not have any notes from a seminar, for example. If you're coming up with a song, you might base this exercise on feeling and not on something that you've picked up in a lecture. Even here, it can be very interesting to circle words that come up more often, things that might repeat themselves a little bit. So for example, in The Nightmare Before Christmas, I circled isolation, loneliness, and togetherness and confined and escape. So those are all words that are somehow linked together. May it be that they're complete opposites or that they're kind of the same thing. So even if you're trying to write a story, let's say a short story, or you're working on a screenplay, or you're working on a song, looking into words that repeat themselves can be very helpful, and also words that might be the exact opposite of that, like looking at word families and looking at, okay, where do I have contradictions and differences? So that can be also really, really fun. I started rewatching Ratatouille today, and I noticed how it's really, really funny how you have the restaurant scene and cooking, and then you have a rat, which is kind of like, okay, what do you put into a kitchen that is so contradictive to what should be in a kitchen? And then of course you have a rat, and then you have a story. So there you have kind of like the beginning of something that you can build on. And I think if you try to find opposites, that can also be very, very interesting. So that's what I kind of did here with good and evil, heroism versus tyranny, etc., love versus hate. If you do this exercise, definitely tell me if it helped you, because I would say that it definitely helped me, especially because I just feel more motivated now to keep researching. Because sometimes you know more than you give yourself credit for, and reminding ourselves that there's a lot that we can already contribute is great, because sometimes we want the whole picture right from the start and right from the get-go, but it doesn't have to be like that. Good things take time, so. And never forget, like when you're working on a term paper, there's professors that you can reach out to and talk to and schedule office hours with. And when you're working on a screenplay, a short story, or a song, you can also talk to professors or friends about it and workshop ideas. So you're not alone in what you're doing, and you can seek help. So all in all, I would say, try this exercise and let me know how it goes.